In this video, we're going to talk about the Mekong Delta. The Mekong Delta is an area basically south of Ho Chi Minh. In fact, Ho Chi Minh kind of blends into the Mekong, and then the Mekong connects to the very popular tourist island of Phu Quoc. It's pretty common that people ask us for routes to rent a motorbike in the Mekong Delta, and if you look at our website at this time, we don't have any recommendations for it, and there is a reason for this. The Mekong Delta is not really an area for driving a motorbike. It's a really good area for learning about Vietnam, learning about culture here, seeing all the rice paddies, the way this country operates, floating markets, things like that. But for actual motorbiking, it's not that interesting. It's basically flat, hot, busy roads with big highways, which are basically designed for transporting goods around. So you're better off for a motorbike journey heading north, which I'll talk about a little bit. Having said that, if you are interested in the Mekong Delta, there are amazing tours that you can do on a motorbike, but you need a tour guide who has spent a long time researching the area, can translate what you're seeing, can show you the culture, take you on the back roads around these big busy highways. In fact, you end up on these roads that are going down these very narrow streams, rivers with houses either side. They're really, really fun for that kind of thing, but they're so hard to find and connect up. A lot of them just go in circles. So you need a tour guide. And we just happen to have a tour guide that specializes in the Mekong Delta at this company. We work with him as a third-party freelancer, Renzo, fluent Vietnamese, fluent English, Spanish, French, and a bunch of other languages. So if you want to see the culture of this country, those tours are amazing. But if you want to drive a motorbike by yourself, the Mekong is not for you. Most people book Mekong Delta tours through buses, bus tours and boat tours, basically through your hotel. Super simple, and they're very, very commercial. You get taken to floating markets and boat rides, which are just jam-packed full of tourists where they try and sell you things. Obviously, you can pay your way out of this to higher-end tours, but it's a commercial experience. What you'll have with us and our tour is just way off all of that. You're going to go right around it with the motorbike. The Mekong Delta is an area that's really great for a one-day drive, 2 days, or 3 days as a tour. But if you were to ignore our advice and attempt to travel to Mekong by yourself as a rental, we may or may not make some routes public because they're always changing and it's very hard to recommend. But if you were to do this, to go down to Can Tho and see some floating markets and things, really you need 2 or 3 days to experience it properly. And it is a quick way to see some of Vietnam and its culture. So if you're, for example, a businessman in Ho Chi Minh for a weekend, then to pop down to the Mekong for a 2-day tour. I keep saying tour because that's what you should do, but a 2-day rental, there's a good way to see this country. The Mekong Delta is very, very large. It might not look it on a map, but it is actually huge. And there's not much English down there. So because it's kind of a culture-based area in terms of motorbikes and driving and what you're seeing, you really need someone to explain the context to you. What are you seeing? Otherwise, you're just driving very flat, busy, open highways. If you have, if you are a motorcyclist and you like driving a motorbike, so we're not talking about culture. You're a motorbike guy. You should be heading north. You do a Ho Chi Minh, Cat Tien, Bao Loc. This is going to give you a mountain route, and then you're coming back down to the coast. You're doing something like Phan Rang, Mui Ne, Lagi, back to Ho Chi Minh. So you've got mountains and coast. You've got twisty mountain roads, beautiful scenery. This is motorcycle terrain. The Mekong is if you're like, oh, I want to learn about Vietnam. I want to learn about rice paddies and what they're making here. And I want to do it on a motorbike, but I'm not necessarily a motorcyclist. I just want, this is a nice way to get off the tourist circuit. So these are the 2 different things you have to consider. Phu Quoc Island is a very popular tourist destination for beaches. It's on the map down here. Now, to drive there is a full day's drive and a ferry, and it's a full day's not good driving, highway to get there, and then a full day drives back. It's absolutely not worth driving to Phu Quoc. You are far better off taking the 30-minute flight from Ho Chi Minh to Phu Quoc, and then renting a bike on Phu Quoc. I'd love you to rent a bike from us because it's more money for me, but it's just not worth it. The Mekong Delta really is the last section of the country that we have no maps for, right? Pretty much. And there is a reason for that. So I highly recommend, if you're interested in the Mekong, you've got a couple of days to spare around the Ho Chi Minh area, you book a tour. You're going to have an amazing time down there with a tour guide. But just be aware that renting a bike down there is not as easy as you might think. And you probably would have more fun spending that time on a bike somewhere else in the country. That's my honest opinion. To those of you out there who have driven the Mekong and you like the Mekong, good on you. There's many people who are here for the culture, the food, for this and that. That's a nice way to travel this country too. But I'm a motorbike guy. Most of our clients are specific motorcyclists, so that's the reason for my recommendations. Whew. Difficult topic.